So make yourself comfortable. You might be lying down, you might be seated, you might be standing up. You could be in Tadasana. It's a great way to check in and see how you feel. So you're observing your outer environment, the sounds in the room, the light on your eyelids. And you notice where the body and the floor are interacting. Maybe if you're seated, you feel your buttocks on the floor or on the blanket. Maybe if you're lying down, you feel your back body on the floor. And as you breathe, you see how the body changes with the breath. The pose changes with the breath. And that interaction between the floor and the body changes. You're aware of your inner environment, beginning with being inside your mouth. You're noticing the tastes. You're noticing how as you inhale and exhale, there might be a little pressure difference in the mouth and in the where the ears and the mouth connect. Noticing where the breath touches the body. Noticing how the body is affected by the inhalation, by the exhalation. Maybe there's a little sound to the breath. Maybe there's no sound. And you're aware of the mind and the heart and how the thoughts come and go, the emotions come and go. And you recognize whatever you brought in with you emotionally, mentally. And you set an intention to be present throughout this practice with the experience of the practice, with the changes in the mind and heart. Just noticing that the practice of yoga, of breathing, of pranayama, energy work, the Buddhist part of our practice, the mindfulness. Notice how that all affects the mind, the heart, the body. And I just want to remind you to work at your own level. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. Adjust your pose so that it fits your body and your ability, rather than trying to do something that goes beyond your ability. Always practicing on the good side of your edge, the edge of your strength, the edge of your stretch. You want to be right at that edge where you can feel the body relaxing a little bit and allowing the body to go a little bit more deeply. And it might be the edge of your relaxation. So if you soften the pose a little bit, maybe you can relax into it a little bit and the body stretches a little bit more. Or maybe if you relax your effort just a little bit, you can find some relaxation in a pose that requires strength, and you can stay just a little bit longer. And yet you maintain the form of the pose, the strength or the relaxation of the pose, but you maintain the form. All poses are a balance of relaxation and strength. And some are more relaxation and some are more strength, but there's always an element of both in every pose. Being kind towards yourself, noticing that habit of judging yourself, if you might have that habit, and see if you can let go of that and trust that you're doing the best that you can, and that whatever you are doing right now is intended to be good for you, that you intend to take care of yourself and be kind and compassionate. If something is a little bit too hard for you, be compassionate towards yourself. Know that that's hard for you, but work at your own level, because that's kind to yourself. And be willing to notice when something is that brings you some joy, that you appreciate being able to do what you're able to do. And see if you can reach into that place of equanimity in each pose, where no matter the difficulty or the ease, there's this sense of well-being. So if you're not already lying down, you're going to lie back and bend your knees. And we're just going to do a little bit of pranayama with the hands on the thighs. And we're going to press into the thighs as the abdomen drops in. As the waist narrows, you're going to exhale, pressing into the thighs. Maybe there's a pause at the end of the exhalation. And when you're ready to inhale, the breath comes in, you relax your pressing as you pause at the end of the inhalation. And as you exhale again, you're pressing into the thighs, pressing into the pause all through the exhalation and into the pause. Neck is relaxed and long. And then inhale. Relax the pressing. 2 more rounds. at the end of the pause, when you're ready to inhale, inhale and relax. And as you exhale, stretch the legs out and the arms out over your head, and take the shoulder blades down your back. And as you exhale, draw the left leg back, and as you hug into the shin or from the back of the thigh, see if you can even up the right and left sides of the abdomen so that your left hip joint has a little depth in there where you're reaching into that hip and moving it toward the wall in front of you, even though you're drawing that left knee back. And when you inhale again, switch the arms, reaching. The other leg comes back, the right leg comes back, holding onto the shin or the back of the thigh, reach into the left heel, drawing the right thigh back. And work in your own rhythm. When you're ready to inhale, reach. And when you're ready to exhale, press. As you're pressing, let the buttock move toward the floor a little bit on the side where you're bringing the leg back, so that the two sides stay balanced. And you're going to end with the right leg back. Inhale, draw both legs back, holding on to the knees with the fingertips pointing toward the ankles. As you inhale, let the knees float away from the shoulders, from the abdomen, from the chest, and rest in your fingertips. And as you exhale, draw the knees back. Still, the buttocks moves a little toward the floor on both sides, and the inner hip joints deepen a little bit so that they move toward the wall in front of you. Inhale, drawing away, resting the weight of your legs in your fingertips. And exhale, draw the legs back. On the next inhalation, draw the knees away and out to the either side. Right knee to the right, left knee to the left. As you exhale, coming back and hugging in. Couple of more rounds. Moving toward the end of the mat on the inhale and out to either side, and coming back on the exhale, hugging in. The lower back doesn't get smashed into the floor as you hug in, because the buttocks is also moving toward the floor. So there's a little lift in the lower back. And now when you come back with the knees closer to the chest, as you inhale, go out to the sides and down. As you exhale, come back up the middle. In your own rhythm. And finish this round. And take the legs and straighten them up toward the ceiling and reach behind with the arms. And as you exhale, hug in. Inhale and reach. And as you exhale, hug in. Inhale and reach. Exhale, draw the knees in. Either inhale and reach or hands at your side. Draw the abdomen in, narrow the waist, and bring the feet down. And relax. Inhale and reach. Exhale, draw the abdomen in, narrow the waist, and draw the knees back and hug in. Inhale and reach. Exhale, hug in. Inhale, either reach the arms or put the hands at your side. And exhale, narrow the waist, draw the abdomen in as you bring the feet down and relax. Bring the hands behind the head. Take your socks off for this part. Feet on the mat, behind the buttocks, and head resting in the palms with the fingers interlaced. Walk the shoulder blades down the back and line up your feet so the feet are parallel and the feet are right behind the buttocks. Take a breath in. As you exhale, lift the head and bring the hands up to catch the head. Inhale. Exhale, lift the head and bring the hands up to catch the head. Inhale. Exhale, lift and catch. And as you are holding the head, let the weight of the head drop into your hands. And with the weight of the head in your hands, pull at the base of the skull. Take a breath in with the feet anchored. Exhale, begin to lift the hips, keeping the legs parallel. And moving your hands away from the base of the skull as you get closer and closer to the floor until the head is on the floor and you're up pretty high on the tops of your shoulders. Now, as you exhale, keep drawing the abdomen in and narrowing the waist. Stop and take a breath in. As you exhale, draw the abdomen in, narrow the waist, and begin to bring the buttocks back down. Inhale, rest a moment. Exhale, draw the abdomen in, narrow the waist, and bring the buttocks all the way down. Inhale and relax. If you would like to use your strap and your block, you can put the strap around your thighs and the block between your feet. And we're going to take a breath in and put the hands onto the thighs. As you exhale, press into the thighs, let the abdomen drop in and the waist narrow. All the way through the exhale and the pause. When you're ready to inhale, inhale and relax. And again, this time as you exhale, you're also going to push into the floor and lift the sit bones towards the backs of the knees and bring the hips as high as you can, still feeling relaxed in the back of the neck. And you might feel you've come up onto the shoulders like when your arms were behind. Now we're going to relax our arms underneath the rib cage. You could walk them in as close under as you can and turn the forearms out, keeping the neck relaxed. You might be able to keep the outer shoulders rolled onto the floor and interlace your fingers. And as you lean toward the right, you walk the left elbow in a little closer and get the left arm a little straighter. And as you lean toward the left, you walk the right elbow in and get the right arm a little straighter. Still taking the sit bones towards the backs of the knees. Now, if you have your strap on, you can press out into the strap at the thighs and press into the block with your feet. Breathing, keeping the neck relaxed. You still have the sit bones moving towards the backs of the knees, and you're breathing and observing the breath. How does the pose change the breath? How does the breath change the pose? Neck loose. Now as you exhale, you're going to relax your arms and start to move them out a little bit from underneath the rib cage. Take a breath in as you exhale. Draw the abdomen in, narrow the waist, and begin to draw the hips down, taking the sit bones a little bit away from the backs of the knees. Take a breath in. As you exhale, draw the abdomen in, narrow the waist, bring the hips down a little more. Inhale. As you exhale, draw the abdomen in, narrow the waist, bring the hips all the way down, and observe. So the relaxation at the end of the pose is part of the pose. It's where you integrate everything you did in the pose with the rest of your practice. And it's where you observe the effects of the pose. Did this pose bring stress into the lower back? If it did, you want to really work on that action of moving the sit bones towards the backs of the knees, and make sure that you're always doing that action during the whole process, and that you can know that you can protect the lower back by drawing the abdomen in and narrowing the waist, and the lower back should be more comfortable then when you come out. For now, if you have any stress in your lower back, you could bend your knees from one side to the other, back and forth. And you could do this with the feet on the floor. And when your knees go to the left, your head goes to the right. And when your knees go to the right, your head goes to the left. And you could also take your feet off the floor and bring the knees back and rock from side to side, keeping that sense of the lower back having its own little curve and the abdomen supporting that curve. Try not to smash the lower back into the floor, but rather keep the buttocks moving a little bit toward the floor. You can draw circles with the knees, either holding on to the knees as you draw those circles, or letting the arms be loose at your side and just moving the knees around in circles. Make sure that your chin isn't jutting up toward the ceiling. It's long, the neck is long and comfortable. All right, so take a breath in. As you exhale, hug in, but still there's a little curve in the lower back, buttock moving towards the floor. And as you inhale, you might put your hands down or you might bring your arms behind. And on the exhale, you draw the abdomen in, lengthen the lower back, lengthen the front. Draw the waist in, narrow it, and bring your feet back down. Either one at a time or together. And again, breathing naturally. So we're going to come to the side and come up onto your hands and knees. If you have a blanket, you can put it underneath your your knees. My blanket is still in the car, if you can believe that. So I'm using my extra mat. And I'm going to put that little bit of extra mat underneath my knees. And my arms are lined up, shoulders over wrists. And my arms are long and strong. And my knees are right underneath my hips. Inhaling, rounding the back up as far as you can go and tucking the chin in, tucking the pubic bone in. And as you exhale, lift the sit bones up. Let the back drop into the front. Head lifts, sit bones lift. Back and forth in your own rhythm. Always the arms are really strong. You can really feel that strength as you're pushing into the floor to round up. But then again, when you begin to lift the sit bones and the head and drop in, still keep that strength in the arms. Now, as you inhale, round up. And as you exhale, tip up and go back toward your heels. Inhale and round up. And as you exhale, tip up and go back toward the heels. In your own rhythm. You may notice a pause at the end of the inhalation or a pause at the end of the exhalation. Resting back at the heels while you're still pausing. Now, if you did have a pause, see if you can use the pause as the phase of the breath where you go back to the heels. So inhale and round, maybe there's a pause. Exhale and tip up and really drop the back into the front. And then on the pause, go back to the heels. In your own rhythm. And resting. You might have your head on the floor or head on a block or head on your hands. So we're going to do a balance pose in preparation for Virabhadrasana III, which we've been working on in the Wednesday night class. And for the Thursday people, you may or may not want to work on Virabhadrasana III. So we're going to take a breath in. We're back to the table position. Take a breath in, reach the right arm out, and reach the left leg back and touch the toes to the floor. And draw the abdomen in and narrow the waist and lift the left leg and reach the right arm. Now the right arm and the left leg reach away from each other, but they do not change the hips. And then hand down and relax. Maybe go all the way back again to the knee, to the heels. So again, back to the hands and knees. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, reach the right leg back, touch the toes to the floor, and reach the left arm out, and raise the right leg. Now draw in at the abdomen, narrow the waist, and let the right leg and the left fingers reach away from each other. That does not mean that you go back with the hips or forward with the hips. It's equal and opposite. And relax. Breath in as you exhale. Go back to the heels. If you don't want to relax on your heels, you could go onto your abdomen. If your lower back bothers you at all, you could rock your feet from side to side. And breathing. We're going to come back up and come all the way to standing. Let's do that by being on our knees. Sitting back on our heels, toes curled to face the floor. The bottoms of the toes face the floor. Try to get all the toes to be stretched out. And breathe. You might need a block between, or a blanket between your thighs and calves, or a block between your heels that you can sit on. And the heels keep working toward each other a little bit. Breathing. And then going back onto the balls of the feet. Dropping the heels as much as you can. Extending the front of the body. Drawing the abdomen in so that the abdomen can come a little closer to the thighs and the inner hip joints, the fronts of the hip joints, deepen just a little bit. As the hip joints move away from the rib cage. And breath in. As you exhale, you're going to step apart. And you can have your knees as bent as you need to have them. We haven't been doing any hamstring work yet, except to strengthen the hamstrings. Take a breath in, exhale, draw the abdomen in. Maybe you can feel right in the middle of the backs of the legs. Maybe you can feel the hamstrings stretching a little bit. Not at the backs of the knees, not at the sit bones. Just letting those legs stretch a little bit more in the backs of the legs. And this is where we work right at the edge of the stretch. You can feel that the hamstrings are actually relaxing a little bit as you draw the abdomen in and step into your feet. But you're not pushing beyond your edge. And yet there's a little more straightness in the legs. If not, you're backing off a little bit until you feel more comfortable, and then you wait. Wait for the changes to happen. You can support the weight of your torso with your hands. And slowly letting the torso fold by folding in the hip joints, letting the torso fold over the thighs. Now bend the knees again, reach out and up. Inhale and come up. Feeling how the lower back feels and stretching up out of the lower back and down away from the lower back into the heels. And release. Shake out. Taking a breath in. And And reach right up out of the left hip, up into the left fingers, down into the left heel. And then the other arm, reaching. Both arms. Holding on to the right wrist as you exhale. Pull toward the left. And inhale up. And exhale. Pull toward the left. And inhale up. Arms go behind the ears. And exhale. Pull toward the left. Try to lengthen that left side a little bit, even as you reach across. And inhale up. And exhale, pull toward the right. Inhale up. And exhale, pull toward the right. And inhale up. Bringing the arms behind the ears. And exhale, pull toward the right as you lengthen that right side. Inhale up. Releasing the arms to the height of the shoulders and letting the shoulder blades go down the back and breathing. Inhale and looking up, and exhale and looking down. Inhale and looking up. Feel the base of the skull where the neck and the skull come together, lifting toward the ceiling while the roundedness in the skull drops toward the floor. And the front of the chin reaches for the ceiling. And then inhale. As you exhale, look down. Inhale and look up. And as you exhale, come back to neutral. Take a breath in. Exhale, turn and look toward the left. Look over the left shoulder, bring the chin around a little bit further. Keep the chin parallel to the floor. Can you go a little bit farther? Again, you're working at your edge. You don't want to move into pain. You don't want to move into discomfort, really. You just want to work a little bit further. If you can work a little bit further, leave that right shoulder back. And then breath in. As you exhale, turn and look over the right shoulder. Keep that left shoulder back. Inhale. Maybe the chin can draw around a little bit more, keeping the chin parallel to the floor. And then coming back. Interlacing the fingers behind the head and let the weight of the arms drop down. Shoulders stay back, but the head drops. Inhale, come up with a little resistance from the hands. And back to center. And release the arms. Using your left hand against the left side of the head. Press into the head. The head and the hand work equally. So the head doesn't go all of a sudden way far to the right and then, or excuse me, way far to the right and then back again to the left, but it stays in the center. And yet the head and the hand push into each other. Switch hands. And the head and the hand press into each other. And then pressing into the forehead. And relax. Now, turning to face the head of your mat and putting the left foot forward and the right foot back. Is that what I wanted to, well, maybe to you it looks like right foot forward, left foot back. I don't know. I can't see the screen right now. All right, so we're going to take the back foot, the right foot a little to off of the center line, the left foot, the front foot a little to the left of the center line. Not too far, just a little bit. And as you exhale, you're going to straighten both legs and press the right heel, the back heel, into the floor as you bring the hips around to face forward. Bend the front knee. And as you exhale, press into that front foot and turn the pelvis to face more forward. It might go past that center line. If so, just bring it back to the center line. Again, bending that front knee. We're doing Virabhadrasana 1. And we're looking for keeping that back foot really anchored. And we're going to bend in the hip joints. Leave that front knee bent. Keep the heel down and then come back up, keeping the heel down, anchored into the back heel. And inhale and reach the arms. Now you might put your arms in a pitchfork. You might put your arms up toward the ceiling or interlace the fingers and put your pointing fingers up. Now, there's a tendency to push the chest really forward and get a deep curve in the back, but instead, you want to move the abdomen in a little bit so that the lower back is protected and the waist feels thin and the back heel feels really anchored. And you feel comfortable with your shoulders over your hips and the lower back happy. Breath in and release as you exhale and step forward. And now you're going to feel, what does it feel like on the right and left sides of your body, especially in the legs, but all down the sides, even the left and right side of the lower back, left and right shoulders. Just notice if there's a difference between the left and the right. Take a breath in. As you exhale, step back with the left foot. And again, the left foot is a little to the left of the center line, right foot a little to the right of the center line. And we're going to bend that front knee and push off with that front foot, turning the pelvis a little more to face the front. And you're keeping that left heel down, so you might have to turn the left foot out. And breathing and observing. Now remember, you don't want a huge curve in your lower back. You want the abdomen to be supporting the lower back. And you want the shoulders to be over the hips. So with that front knee bent, lining up the front leg, front thigh, front knee, with the middle toes. Breathing in, bend in the hip joints and fold forward a little bit. And then take a breath in, reach into that left heel. Really reach and come back up. And you're reaching into the heel and down into the heel and up with the arms. Maybe a pitchfork. Maybe the arms up, interlacing the fingers, pointing fingers up. Feel how that back leg, the thigh is moving toward the back of the thigh. The front of the thigh is moving toward the back of the thigh. The inner arch is lifting a little more energy to the outside of that back foot. And as you breathe, you notice how the pose changes. And you notice how the pose changes the breath. And then we release the arms and step. I'm going to come back to the middle of the mat. So that was an asymmetrical pose. We're going to do a symmetrical pose. You might do just Tadasana. That's a symmetrical pose. And you're anchored in your feet. Inside edge of the ball of the foot anchored, outside edge of the heel, outside edge of the ball of the foot, inside edge of the heel. And you're feeling how the right and the left side are working equally. How the right and the left side of the ribs are stretching equally. Shoulders up by the ears, turning the palms out, and shoulder blades down the back. And release. As you breathe, you notice how the breath changes the pose, how the pose changes the breath. So now we're going to do Virabhadrasana II. And the feet are apart, farther than triangle. And you're going to turn your right foot out and your left foot in. And you're going to line up the middle of the right foot with the arch of the back foot. Or some people like to line up the middle of the foot with the heel of the back foot. And you're going to bring your knee on the front leg right over the ankle. Now we're going to help that a little bit by reaching up and back, and that helps you to swing your hips toward the front leg, toward the front foot. Make sure that your knee is not pointed to the inside of the big toe, but points toward the middle toes, and you bring your buttocks in behind it. And as you exhale, you're swinging the hips toward the right. Your right foot is forward, toward the forward foot. And you're swinging your arm behind in reverse Virabhadrasana II. And then leaving the hips where they are. Bring the arms out, turn the palms up, and relax the shoulder blades down the back. Breathing, then maybe you can bring the palms down, still swinging the hips to the right. The shoulders swing to the left. And breathing and observing. Feel how you're keeping that front knee aligned with its foot, and that means that the buttock on that side is moving in just a little bit. And the back leg, you're bringing the front of the thigh toward the back of the thigh. You're opening up the inner arch. Exhale and relax. Coming back to neutral. Feel how the right and left sides feel different again. All right, so now we're going to go to the other side. Now your left foot is forward and your right foot is back. And you're pretty far apart, a little farther than you are in triangle. And you want to make sure that the front knee is aligned with the middle toes, that the middle line of the foot is aligned with the middle arch of the back foot, and the knee follows that middle line of the front foot. Buttock is pulled in on the left side to come more toward the center line of the pose between the 2 feet. And we'll inhale up with the front arm. And as you do, you're going to swing the hips toward the left, really opening up the length in that right side. You're thinking about opening the length on the left side, but what if I tell you open the length on the right side, on the back leg side? And then coming out with the arms over the feet, and the hips are still moving to the left toward the front knee. Shoulders are moving a little toward the right, though they're over the hips. Turn the palms up, take the shoulder blades down. And as you exhale, if you can, put the palms down and reach the arms. Now reaching into the feet, into the outer edges of the back foot, into the corners of the front foot, into the pad, center pad of the heel in each foot. Take a breath in and come back to center. Step the feet together and feel the difference between the right and the left. Do you feel a little more balanced after doing the second side? So we're going to do Virabhadrasana, parallel foot pose. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, begin to bend the knees. Now, as you bend the knees, don't let them point inside of your knees, but turn the legs out so that the knees point toward the middle of the feet and the inner arches are lifted. Draw the abdomen in, draw the hips in from the front hip toward the back hip, keeping the knees pointing toward the middle toes, using your elbows to draw those thighs out. Now just breathe for a little bit. And as you push into the floor, go nowhere. Just feel how the strength comes up through the legs, into the floor of the pelvis, and you breathe. And then if you'd like, you could exhale and start to lift the sit bones up higher. And the hands maybe touch without rounding the back. You could have blocks underneath your hands. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, start to get familiar again with those hamstrings. Like when we first did the first Uttanasana, and we felt the hamstrings from a bent knee position. Bend the knees and see how it feels when you have a bent knee stretch. And then see if you can draw the abdomen in, which releases the hamstrings. And see if you can strengthen the thighs, pushing into the floor. That releases the hamstrings. And pushing away with the fingertips, that lifts the sit bone. And you could put the hands out in front and sort of make a downward dog with the arms stretched out as far as they can go without taking the hips out of alignment with your heels. Or with the line of the heels. In other words, don't let your hips come forward as your arms reach forward. When you're inhaling, the back rounds just a little bit. And when you're exhaling, the back drops in just a little bit, but the elbows don't drop. The arms are still long and straight. And then bring the feet together. You can step them together or jump them together. Walk the hands back. Uttanasana again. Inhale, reach out and up. Reach through the right arm and then the left arm and then the right arm and the left arm. Get really tall. And back to Tadasana. So, I promised you we would work on Virabhadrasana III. So Virabhadrasana III, if you would like to do the balance pose we did at the beginning of the session, where you're on your hands and knees and you reach one arm in the opposite leg, you could do that. That is very much similar muscles. And it's a good preparation for this pose. Or if you would like, we'll step on one foot and reach the arms ahead and balance on one foot. So again, we're going to start out where we're anchoring the leg we're not going to stand on. The right leg is going to be anchoring behind a little bit. And you want to feel that not too far behind, just a little bit behind, that you're really anchored into that heel. So you can feel your whole torso coming out over the hips, coming back over the hips, head coming over the spine. And we're going to reach out through the arms and reach into that back heel. And as you exhale, you're going to begin to, and I'll move my foot back just a little bit more. I'm still over the hips with my shoulders and my arms. And as you exhale, you're going to begin to fold from the hip joint on the left and begin to lift that right leg and reach reach with your arms and reach with your arms. I lost it. If you have trouble with this, some days are better than others. You can put your foot against a wall. I don't know if you can see this or not. I don't think you can. But I'm putting my foot against a railing at the banister. And I can reach that leg back and keep the hips even. And then reach the arms forward. And then coming back again. And relax. So let's try the other foot. Inhale and reach, step back. Even though that back foot isn't actually touching the floor, reach into the heel. Reach up with the arms. Exhale, fold forward, reaching out through the arms. Reach back with the back heel. Turn the foot in and the back leg just a little bit so that it feels a little pigeon-toed. And inhale back up. Stay as long as you'd like. When you're ready to come back, come back up. All right. So we're going to come back down and rest down on our back. If you would like, you can take the, I don't know if this would be too dark. If you would like, you can take the legs up, put a block underneath your buttocks, and just for 5 minutes or so, leave the legs up. Or you could rest at the wall with your legs up. Or you can just go into relaxation, whichever you feel you would like to be doing. No matter if you put your legs up or not, just stay there for a few minutes. And whenever you're ready, bring your feet back down. If you went right into relaxation, you might want to have your knees bent, maybe bent and dropped in toward each other. Or you might want to have your legs straight, feet dropped apart. Do what feels good for your body. Breathing and observing. And I love bringing up the words of Thich Nhat Hanh as we're observing and relaxing. Relaxation, Shavasana, is a meditation. And it's a meditation upon the infinite within. And that's always true in all of our poses. We're looking at the infinite within, the infinite infiniteness of this body, of this being, of this space in which we live, and relaxing. It is through the relaxation of effort and meditation upon the infinite that we come to asana, that we learn asana, experience asana, and that we find yoga, which is the stilling of the disturbances all through our being, the quieting and relaxing of those energies, whether they are thoughts or emotions or physical things. Whatever might disturb the stillness, the quiet, the peace, the meditation. Hatha Yoga, Nushasanam. Now the practice of yoga begins. Bringing our hands together. Honoring the light within each of us the truth within each of us, the knowing within each of us, the balance, the harmony, the love within each of us. And knowing that when I come from that in me and you come from that in you, we are one. And we know it. Namaste.